lights at Shanghai International Circuit, and the Virtual Grand Prix of China is underway with Charles Leclerc leading the field from pole position, Albon in second place, and then Louis Delatraz, and immediately trying to make amends for that penalty and getting onto the grass. I think that was George Russell who's going backwards, but it's an easy maintain of the lead for Charles Leclerc, and meanwhile they're going 4 wide, sorting it out as they go down to turn number 2. Albon in second place, Gutierrez up to third. Guan Yu Zhou desperately wants to win his home race. He's up to 4th with Stoffel Van Dorn in 5th place. We had a Williams on the grass at the start, and making the move in the background there was Antonio Giovinazzi trying to move up to 7th position. Going wide there was Esteban Gutierrez. So up to 3rd place goes Guan Yu Zhou. We're on board with Stoffel Van Dorn in P5.
What a start from Zhou, up to P3, really getting in the mix already. Charles Leclerc out in front, 9/10 ahead of Albon. He's not really going to have any chances, Alex, going down that straight unless Charles makes a mistake. They're all going very wide, as we see there, gaining as much time as they possibly can.
Oh, that's Carlos Sainz into the wall on debut and heading to the back of the pack. The damage is reduced, so he'll be able to get going again, but Sainz dropping it, and that's real disappointment for him on debut.
He was looking really good. When he was spinning, which was the only time I've seen him so far, it was that he was on the mediums. So that was a very good qualifying time, if that is the case. As a Ferrari going, that's not going to gain you any time.
Callum Ilott in the background. The 2 Mercedes going wheel to wheel into turn 14. Stoffel Van Dorn trying to get past his teammate. Both of these drivers in Formula 1 before, and now it's a move for P4 for Stoffel Van Dorn, trying to make his way up. He was the 2nd fastest qualifier, but got the penalty, and they are taking a wild line through turn 16. You've got to be careful not to touch the gravel if you go out that far. Coming into this battle as well, on board with him right now, Louis Delatraz, Swiss F2 racer, trying to get past Esteban Gutierrez. He's got the DRS open, getting past Broadbent and moving up to 14th place.
So Jimmy, has a little bit of contact with the Haas there, just a little nudge to say, all right, off you go then. But the thing that I wanted to mention was Jimmy Broadbent, he pitted lap 7, started on the mediums. You can see Liam Lawson and Carlos Sainz still out there on the medium compound tyres. So clearly they're feeling a different lease of life compared to Jimmy Broadbent's medium tyres that came off on lap 7. So that's going to be the optimal thing for Carlos and Liam. So let's see where this ends them up in the next 17 laps or so. On board with Pietro Fittipaldi, running in P14. Also doing that sort of really early upshift where you can hear the engine bogged down, but it's the best way to do it on this track. So perfect.
So lap 11 of 28, and I believe we can check in with the driver you're looking at the moment, Thibaut Courtois, to find out how things are going. Thibaut, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How's it going so far? You've got cars absolutely everywhere right now, but you must be pleased with your race so far.
Yeah, I had a bit bad luck on the start because of cars, and then suddenly I scored. Fortunate because otherwise I had a decent start, but now it's going quite well. We'll have to box in a bit.
Running in the top 10, but yet to make your stop. What's your aim for the rest of the race, apart from to keep as many drivers behind as possible in this moment in time? We can hear you banging down through the gears right now, Thibaut.
Yeah, just trying to fight against those guys, and I don't know. We'll see how my pace is on the hards, and then I don't know, see where I can get in.
Well, thank you very much, Thibaut Courtois, for checking in mid-race. So many big names taking part in this 3rd Virtual Grand Prix of the year so far. Carlos Sainz now in the lead because Liam Lawson has come into the pits. So Albon has got slipped behind Charles Leclerc. 0.3 of a second the gap now, and the battle for what will be the race lead now in favour of Charles Leclerc, getting back ahead. But there's a lot to be resolved here as we still follow the Belgian goalkeeper. 3rd in the World Cup back in 2018. He finds himself 9th right now, with George Russell ahead, and Louis Delatraz all over the back of that Red Bull. And Ciro Immobile, the other footballer in the race, with a 3-second time penalty as well. We go on board with Louis Delatraz, who's trying to get past as quickly as possible.
It's great to chat to these guys. It's probably the only occasion you'll ever get to speak to a Formula 1 racer or driver whilst they're going side by side into a corner. I feel kind of bad, actually, as an F1 gamer myself. I'll be like, oh, please stop. Even further than that. But most other places on this track, you can't cut. It's just an apex and then grass. But there isn't really any cutting opportunities from what I can tell. So I think it is them running extensively wide, if that even is possible with how wide they're all going anyway. But Van Dorn just about in the DRS zone. Alex Albon not. Van Dorn could potentially have a look into turn 2. Turn 2, turn 1 even.
So Leclerc now 1.4 seconds ahead of Alex Albon as the tyres begin to fade away. Seen a similar thing with the battle for third, with Guan Yu Zhou ahead of Stoffel Van Dorn. Guan Yu Zhou last year 5 times on the F2 podium, on his way to the Rookie of the Year title. He took a pole position as well at Silverstone, so he likes a high-speed circuit with a flowing feel. And at certain parts of this racetrack, that's exactly what Shanghai International Circuit is, but not so much here as we go back to the battle for turn 2. So there's only one difference between the hard tyre of Alex Albon and Charles Leclerc, but it was enough for track position. That was confused at the early time that they came into the pits. And it won't just be Albon who's having to look after those tyres, it will be Leclerc as well. This will not be easy flat to the finish, and Carlos Sainz will be kicking himself for that early race spin, because you can see even with the spin on lap 1, he's in 11th position, could have been right in the upper places there without that spin at the very start of the race that sent him to the back of the field.
He's rapid. Carlos Sainz is rapid. The fact he's P11, the fact that he ran so long on those medium tyres at the start of the race. He's on 4-lap-old hard tyres. Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Zhou, they're all on 12, 13-lap-old hard tyres. So for me, it's not over. Carlos Sainz could easily finish in the top 8 here. And also another person, Liam Lawson. He has a 6-lap-old hard tyres, so he's going to be looking fantastic as we go into the latter stages of this race. There you go, 6 laps, 4 laps. They're going to have they're going to have too much rubber on their tyres by the end of this race, whereas everybody else is going to be down to the carcass. So right now, it is going to be very interesting to see how that unfolds. The guys towards the end the bottom of the field even have either had 1 or 2 stops, so they're struggling as well. But Thibaut Courtois, like to see him maybe make some moves, but he's 6 seconds behind Jimmy Broadbent. I don't think he's going to be particularly happy. I feel like everybody we've spoken to hasn't done particularly well, Alex.
And that is the commentator's curse, Matt. That's how it works. You mention them, they have a bad to catch others ahead. Still, we go down to turn number 6 with this not yet resolved. Giovinazzi with the older tyres, but with track position. And Liam Lawson, from attacking the Alfa Romeo, now finds himself looking in the mirrors and falling behind Nicholas Latifi.
You can have as much of tyre advantage as possible. If you lose talent, then there's nothing you can do about it. So Liam Lawson, unfortunately, although still side by side with Latifi up the inside, gets that position back. Will he get the traction out of that double left-hander? It looks just about like he's going to hold on, but will he get DRS? He won't. So I think that he could lose a position again to Latifi, and with Carlos Sainz flying in the background, Liam Lawson might be losing position. So again, is that a curse? I think I've done it again, even though he's got 7 lap-old fresher tyres. Well, actually, no, he's actually gained quite a bit of time on Latifi there. So there you go, I have reversed my commentator curse, and Latifi is coming under pressure from Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, Sainz with an alternate strategy to come flying through the field. We saw that a couple of times last year. We're seeing it again. And he's trying to break up into the top 10. The papaya McLaren nearly appearing on the left-hand side. Latifi just about doing enough. You can see the graphics, that's what we're talking about. Lawson with only 8-lap-old hard tyres and only 6-lap-old hard tyres for the McLaren behind the Williams. But I don't think he will be behind for too long. Change of position now for Louis Delatraz. And Delatraz in 6th. Gutierrez falling down to 7th place. And Gutierrez, who started 59 Formula 1 Grand Prix, hugely experienced. Personal best of 7th place back in Japan all those years ago, but falling down to 7th place right now in today's race. It's a DRS, you heard the beep, and now he's got 3rd position. Can he pick his braking spot and take the place back that he lost? A brilliant race-long battle between these two, but it's the Belgian driver who gets past the home favourite. He is up to 3rd position. Leclerc, Albon, and now Stoffel Van Dorn.
Giovinazzi out of the race from P9, it looks like. I'm not exactly sure how, but he has left the session, and must be a wheel or game issue, but either way he is out of this race, which promotes Carlos Sainz up into P9 now after getting past Latifi. We're looking at Van Dorn and Zhou. This race is going to, as you say, go right down to lap 28 of 28. They're on the same amount of worn tyres. They both pitted at exactly the same time. It looks like they're exactly the same pace as well. They've got that DRS zone to make the moves, and to be honest, right now I'd be thinking, look, let's just work together for these next few laps. See if we can close the gap to Alex Albon, who actually seems to be closing just slightly on Charles Leclerc, 1.9 seconds. It was over 2.
He's had a good couple of laps as Albon, now 1.8 marginally. Very, very interesting in the battle for the Prix debut. And George Russell showing that he's had pretty consistent pace with the drivers ahead. That gap at one point was high 2 seconds, and he's just been chipping away lap after lap. So he's getting closer to Guan Yu Zhou. Meanwhile, back with the race leader, Matt. He seems to be in control right now.
Seems, if we went and spoke to him, I'm sure that would probably go downhill. But yeah, Charles Leclerc, very measured drive. He broke out of DRS, and Alex Albon hasn't really had an answer since he broke away with those 1 lap fresher tyres, which at the front means everything. You know, you have these 7-8 lap differences in the mid pack, but when you're so closely contested with your contestants, with your rivals, 1 lap is a couple of tenths maybe sometimes towards the end of the race at least. So Charles Leclerc using that advantage very well indeed, 2.5 seconds ahead. I know you mentioned about the ghosting. I'm sure they would love to have that in real life. You just drive straight through the back markers. That would be a lot easier, but unfortunately that isn't the case. But yeah, it looks set for the podiums, the podium sitters. I'm trying to think of someone that I'm really impressed with in terms of driver of the day. I don't know if Carlos Sainz got hit or if he got spun. I would like to think he got hit with the pace that he's shown. So Carlos definitely has to be up there with driver of the day. Who would you say, Alex?
Be very impressed with Liam Lawson, considering that he has made his debut as well, and he finds himself ahead of a driver who has taken a position on a Formula One podium. So he will be very pleased with that, running the same alternate strategy. So been impressed with Liam Lawson, been pleased that we've seen what Alex Albon can do in this Virtual Grand Prix setting. It sounds a bit daft, but he dropped it on lap 1 last time, and then had a fantastic recovery up to 8th position. So it's been good to see him mix it at the front, even though he looks like he's going to fall just a little bit short. You're watching the closest battle on the racetrack at the moment, which continues to be Louis Delatraz against the driver we're on board with, Esteban Gutiérrez.
Oh no, Charles. I was improving. Well, he's done for the fastest lap. Oh. Why do you flip it into first, like a quarter second, the center of that first corner? Just to rotate the car. It helps rotating the car. You just rotate the car with the first gear very quickly, and then you go in second straight away. Just to take the traction again. To have traction again. We did it! That was tense.
Guan Yu Zhou heading to the podium in 3rd place at his home event, and George Russell, for all of his irritation today, he is going to finish in 4th with a strong showing. 3rd last time, 4th today, but once again the class of the field has been Charles Leclerc. We're on board with his teammate Callum Ilott as he comes across the line. Leclerc, Albon and Zhou, the podium after 28 laps of thoroughly entertaining racing.
It was amazing. Brilliant measured drive from Leclerc. As I say, wasn't particularly troubled after he managed to break the DRS. Here we see Courtois coming over the line, 15th place. I'm sure he'll be wanting to come back a bit stronger next time, but I'm sure he will definitely want to race again. The Virtual GP, fantastic. It's great to see the Formula One drivers, but it's also great to see the non-Formula One drivers, to show the accessibility of this game. Some of these guys are doing fantastically well, and some of them maybe not so quick, but, you know, let's see.